Hello, this is J183, and this is episode 32 of Pierre's Path to Glory, and it is the Hungarian Grand Prix in Season 2. And there was a bit of team news after Charles Leclerc, amazing victory. If you missed it last episode, he won while replacing Sebastian Vettel, who's now served his race ban and is back in the Ferrari seat. So Charles Leclerc has been promoted up to the Sauber team, from the Sauber team, I should say, into the Haas car, with Esteban Gutierrez departing, which isn't very surprising as he's only scored 1 point in this season, but that left Sauber with Will Stevens for the confirmed as the remainder of the season to drive alongside Antonio Giovinazzi for the struggling Sauber team, has to be said. So yeah, Leclerc is now partnering Romain Grosjean in the Haas team. So Ferrari, yeah, just pushing up the grid. He did very, very well last time out in the Silverstone in British Grand Prix, after getting his first points in F1 and indeed his first victory in F1 in Silverstone. But now on to qualifying for the Hungarian Grand Prix. I'm still in the same place in Red Bull, and Raikkonen set a purple lap early in the session for the first runs, and I don't actually match him there, which is pretty disappointing because the Red Bull is faster than the Ferrari, and I should be hopefully beating him in qualifying. Now the last run in the session, there's not long left to go, or it's the second last run I should say. I've got one more lap after this, as you can see there's 10 seconds left, and I'm a bit up on the Delta, and it should be an improvement up into, I think, third or fourth place at the minute, which isn't too good. It's a 120 dead. But now I'm another half a second quicker almost on the final run, and this should be quite close to pole, as this run has been pretty good this lap. So open the DRS down towards the line, and it is going to be not quite purple actually, but it is second place on the grid for the Hungarian Grand Prix, which I can do something with from there, so that's not too bad. And on pole position in fact was Daniel Ricciardo in his Mercedes, just 87 thousandths ahead of myself in second, Max Verstappen third, my teammate, with Vettel and Raikkonen, the Ferraris in fourth and fifth, Nico Carey strong result in sixth, Palmer, Hamilton, Button, the three Brits doing not too good. Well, Palmer doing well, but the other two not so good. Alonso 10th, and Valtteri Bottas running out the top 11. Not quite sure what happened to Hamilton, but he ended up 9th, with Carlos Sainz 12th, Magnussen, Perez, Hulkenberg, Verline, Grosjean, Ocon, Russell, Leclerc, Giovinazzi and Will Stevens rounding out the grid. A few surprises in there, with Hulkenberg quite low compared to his teammate, and Leclerc struggling compared to his teammate, but then let's get into the race.
We've seen some astonishing Grand Prix here over the years, haven't we? The drama of 2015 is a recent example. Jenson Button's first win on a wet track in 2006, or in 1997, Damon Hill's heartbreak in the Arrows after a late gearbox failure cost him what would have been the team's only ever victory. What a wonderful place this is to come racing today.
So race strategy then looks like quite a two-stop strategy, quite a simple two-stop. It might be a little bit of a push to get that long out the super soft tyres, as you can see from the graphic. Underfueling car quite a lot, but let's get into the race start then. Second on the grid alongside Daniel Ricciardo. 5 red lights, and it's away we go for the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's a decent start. We're already pushing over to try and pressurise Daniel Ricciardo into a mistake possibly. Good start from my teammate Verstappen on my left-hand side. He's pushing Ricciardo towards turn 1. I brake quite early as I got the inside line, which isn't ideal. But then Max Verstappen's going right on the outside, and it's going to be side by side now towards turn 2 for the first time. The two Red Bulls going side by side. He's always pushing off the track there. I had to brake with the wheel on the grass there. Verstappen not leaving me much space at all. So Verstappen takes second. I'm down to third off the start, which isn't brilliant. And now we've got Kimi Raikkonen all over my rear end as the top two break away slightly into turn 4 for the first time. A slight corner cut, but not too major. But now onto lap 3, DRS is about to be enabled, but we might not need it here, as I'm going to now try and get in the slipstream of my teammate Verstappen. Maybe go for a lunge into turn 1, but it looks like it's not going to happen into turn 1, no. And Verstappen's getting hemmed in now behind Ricciardo for the lead, and me and Raikkonen have managed to drag ourselves up onto this back of this battle. So it's going to be into turn 2 for the first time, or for the third time I should say, and I'm normally quite strong through here compared to the air, and you can see the traction on exit is much better compared to my teammate Verstappen. We're both on the same tyres of course, and I've got a good run now towards turn 4, not really an overtaking spot. I'm going to put the inside of Verstappen anyway, side by side, almost a bit of contact there between the Red Bull cars, and I'm just about forcing out, get the position up into P2 for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Very nice indeed. And now let's look at a replay of the start then, which didn't go the best for me because I was actually dropped right behind Verstappen off the line, which wasn't good at all. It's a good start from the Toro Rosso of Nico Carey, I think that is, and Carlos Sainz in the background. It's about 4 wide, and Johnny and Palmer actually got ahead of Vettel momentarily. A lot of contact there with, I think there's a Renault Magnussen going sideways in the background. But up at the front you can see the two Red Bulls going side by side of myself and Verstappen, and he just about forced me onto the grass, which means I couldn't get the turn in at all. And that meant that Kimi Raikkonen was going to almost take the position away from me, but not quite. And here's the view from Nico Carey. He started about 6th place, and it was an alright start. Raikkonen ahead, or I think it's Vettel actually ahead, bogged down quite a lot. You can see the Renault of Jolyon Palmer getting an absolutely storming start, straight up, almost challenging Raikkonen for 4th place, but then Vettel manages to dive it back up the inside. Carey gets a big hit in the rear from, I think it was a Honda of, or the Williams actually, I'm not quite sure in the mirror. But then again, down towards turn 2 for the first time, you can see the Renault and the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel and Jolyon Palmer going side by side, and they're going to be side by side through turn 3 as well. And Palmer just about gets forced out over the curb, so has to give the position back. Carey thinks about a move up the inside of turn 4, but thinks better of it. It's probably going to end up in a crash. But here is the view from Romain Grosjean right down the bottom end of the field, and he gets a terrible start compared to the Force India of, I think it was Sergio Perez, and the manner of Esteban Ocon goes up the inside, as well as his teammate Leclerc is new team over this race, and he brakes very early. The manner of George Russell almost gets past. I said almost twice there, not quite sure why, but you can see the Renault off the track there in the background. He's only got the 2 Saubers behind him now, Grosjean, so not a very good start at all for him. And I think there's a Mercedes with Lewis Hamilton is a shocking start as well, so very interested to see. I'm not quite sure why he slowed down the field. He might have had a grid penalty or something. But yeah, he's had an awful start, and Grosjean actually gets forced over the curb by George Russell on the inside, so Grosjean down to about 20th place, but only ahead of the 2 Saubers and the cars who went off at the start. But now on to lap 5, and I've got once again a good run through to sector 1 compared to the AI cars, and in this case it's Daniel Ricciardo who's going to have to go defensive here. I'm just going to try run the outside. He almost forced me off the track, set a purple sector while we're at it. There's a bit of contact there, almost lose the front wing, but almost look up the inside. I'm saying almost so much, I do apologise. But now onto lap 6, the very next lap, and Ricciardo surely can't hold the position hold me off for much longer, as my tyres are looking pretty bad at this point, but his will be the same, so it's a level playing field pretty much. Down towards turn 4, it seems like the only place where I'm trying to overtake at this point. I go to the outside, and there's unfortunately onto the grass there as he forces me out, and I'm off the track massively, so unfortunately losing that position. And Verstappen's going to try around the outside as well, but it's side by side now towards the chicane. This is not what you want to do, because the chicane is incredibly difficult to go side by side in, but we're going to try it anyway. The 2 Red Bulls, very equally matched this season so far, although I've been getting the rub of the green in terms of results. But now onto the end of lap 6, the same lap, and I'm going to pit in for a set of medium tyres, as does Ricciardo from the lead. So that releases Verstappen and Raikkonen to go 1 and 2 right now. But the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel also pits, as well as the Renault of Jolyon Palmer is still doing very well right now. And Ricciardo comes out ahead of Palmer, but unfortunately it looks like Palmer's going to hold me up, and that means Sebastian Vettel's going to jump me into pits. So that's pretty frustrating, as I'm now behind Sebastian Vettel, because of Jolyon Palmer, which is a bit of a pain, as he shouldn't really be in F1 because he's absolutely terrible in real life, that is. But anyway, a 3.1 pit stop there, not too good at all. I'm behind one of the Saubers now, which is never where you want to be, because Sauber are terrible in this career mode. But I'm right down the back end of the field now, but down to my out lap, the end of lap 7. Verstappen's in the pit, so it'd be quite a close undercut. And I've gone diving up the inside of Sebastian Vettel into the final few corners of the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's going to make it a double overtake up the inside of Giovinazzi. And it's side by side now, and that is a very sweet double overtake on the Ferrari and the Sauber of Vettel and Giovinazzi. And now I'm going to try and pressurise, I think this is Kevin Magnussen, who's yet to pit, as Jolyon Palmer's doing a good job compared to Magnussen at this point in the race. But now, halfway undercut Max Verstappen, it's going to be very, very close. There's the Toro Rosso of Nico Carey, and here is Verstappen. It's going to be very, very close. I almost take to avoid the action off the track there toward his back end, but unfortunately Verstappen has managed to hold that position. But now on the very same lap 8 still, and he's stuck behind Magnussen, so I'm going to go right at the inside, and it's going to be, once again, quite a nice move there. As I did on Vettel the previous lap, I've perfected the move once again on Max Verstappen. So up into, I don't know what position this is, but I think it's a net second place, just behind Ricciardo, who's a bit up the road. But now Magnussen is the next car ahead, and it's going to be, it seems to be quite an easy move, as I've got DRS and quite a straightforward overtake down towards turn 1. It should be anyway. Maybe the Renault power is better in his Renault than my Tagura Renault engine, but who knows. Down the inside, quite a straightforward overtake up into, I think, about 13th. But now this is the pack ahead of us, and there's an engine failure there. I think it's Pascal Wehrlein in the Force India who has an engine failure, and that is very disappointing for him. So Pascal Wehrlein's now out of the race, and you can see the safety car's been deployed actually. So I'm behind this massive train of cars. I think that's Kimi Raikkonen still ahead of us, so it's actually a net second place. But here's the order. I think it's Carlos Sainz in the lead, who hasn't pitted yet, followed by the Williams car and the Haas of Charles Leclerc, and the other Williams of Valtteri Bottas, with Hulkenberg second right now. Then it's Ricciardo, and Kimi Räikkönen and myself, I think that leaves me about 7th place. But now the safety car's coming in. It's got a bit cloudy in Hungary, which is something to watch out for. There might be some rain on the horizon. But now the yellow flag is out because the racing is about to resume. It's green flag racing now, but straight away behind me, I think there's another yellow flag. And it's my teammate Verstappen, who was 2 positions behind. He's got a puncture already, so I don't know how he's managed that because we've just come out of the pits a few laps ago. But now here's my battle into turn 1, and Räikkönen brakes very early, almost make contact there. That would have been a massive accident if I've made contact. But now onto the back of Daniel Ricciardo, and there's even more contact there. Räikkönen might take advantage here. Räikkönen does. He goes up the inside of both of us. And Hamilton is the thing. He's actually not pitted yet either. He's absolutely just weaving everywhere on me. I've gone wide through the penultimate corner, and Vettel's passed me as well. So there's 2 positions to the 2 Ferraris. But we go straight back up the inside of Vettel, and we have DRS on it. No, we don't have DRS, I should say, because it's only 2 laps after the safety car so far. So Vettel, we dispose of him quite quickly, and now we're back on the back of the Mercedes. I think it's Daniel Ricciardo, I'm not quite sure though. Set a purple first sector, and it looks like we're in a position to lunge up the inside of Ricciardo, force him out towards the chicane for the 17th time in this race. And now there's only Kimi Räikkönen ahead of us, but now Ricciardo's going to go for a move at the inside once again. But now the safety car's come out once again. I don't know, it's only about 3 laps after the first safety car. And this is why I think it's Grosjean and Perez that has to Force India, and Grosjean spun out, and I think he maybe beached it there. Not quite sure, but very, very odd. But a few laps later, the safety car is going to come in this lap. I'm in a 2nd place now, a genuine 2nd place, as the rest of the drivers pitted. So we've just got Kimi Räikkönen ahead of us now, and it's going to be quite straightforward to dispose of him, hopefully. But the safety car's in now, green flag racing once again, and I've put it up into rich mix. We've saved a lot of fuel now thanks to these 2 spells of safety cars. We're in the slipstream of Kimi Räikkönen. He's got no slipstream as he's in the lead. We go up the inside into turn 1, brake later than him down the inside and force him out wide, and that's going to be the lead regained in the Hungarian Grand Prix, which is very nice to see because hopefully we can go on and win this race now with 1 more stop to go. But now a few laps later, here is Daniel Ricciardo coming to the pits from his medium tyres onto a set of softs. But this is my planned strategy. But as you saw, the safety cars have allowed me to save the tyres pretty much a lot, so I can now just pit onto a set of super soft tyres. I have negated the massive undercut, so Carlos Sainz is thinking the same, as he actually started outside the top 10, so he could have had free choice of tyre, which I think he did. He started on a different set, different compound, so he's going to be pitting on super softs now. But the tyre wear was so good because of the safety car period, so I'm able to pit onto super soft tyres now, and hopefully just absolutely fly. But the Ferrari and the 2 Mercedes of Räikkönen, Hamilton and Ricciardo go through into the lead, 2nd and 3rd. But now here's Vettel a few hours later, and I think he's got a stop-go penalty for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, but the Ferrari mechanics delaying before they change the tyres. He's also on to set of super soft tyres. He's not really in the fight, and there is Julian Palmer, who's actually ahead of Vettel now, so well done to him. And the McLaren of Alonso is just behind, so it's a very mixed up order. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but here is the battle for the lead. It's Hamilton, Ricciardo and Kimi Räikkönen and myself in 4th, and we're going to go for a massive lunge up the inside, a very aggressive move on Kimi Räikkönen, take the podium position away from him up into 3rd place. And now we've only got 6 more laps to try and overtake both Mercedes cars. We have the better tyres and the fresher tyres, but they got the undercut on me, so it's pretty difficult to see where it's going to go at the minute. But a bit of contact, loads of contact with Ricciardo's back end. We're definitely filling up the Mercedes quite a lot, and set a purple lap on lap 29. But at the start lap 30 now, we're going to go down the inside. It's going to be quite a lunge, but I've actually gone deep into the corner there because I've braked so late. So Ricciardo's going to master the undercut strategy, or not strategy, I should say, just the undercut movement on the track. Get my words out. But now back up the inside, a massive lunge once again, and Ricciardo has to give way this time as I perfected my braking move to master the dive bomb that time. And now we've got 5 laps to try and overtake Lewis Hamilton for the lead. And here it is, on to lap 31 now with the DRS open, and we're going to go to the inside. He doesn't bother defending as it seems inevitable at this point. My tyres are still pretty fresh. There's a car out the race, I think it's Nico Carey, on the side of the track through out turn 2, but Hamilton holds it around the outside, very well done to him, as he's now going to have to give way though for my better traction, and the yellow flag's out, so he's not allowed to overtake me. But my better traction on the super soft tyre is really helping out there, and my strategy seems to have paid off. So now hopefully it's going to be quite straightforward, go to the end. But now here's Carlos Sainz, who's on the same strategy as me. He's going up the inside of Kimi Räikkönen. He takes 4th place away, and now maybe he can challenge the Mercedes cars. And now on to the final lap of the Grand Prix. I think Ricciardo's had problems as he's now under pressure from Kimi Räikkönen for 4th this is, as Carlos Sainz has already taken the final podium position away. So Hamilton 2nd, myself in 1st, and Carlos Sainz in 3rd now, so very well done to him. And around the final corner for the final time, and I've got quite a big lead thanks to these super soft tyres, but it's going to be another race win for Pierre Gasly in this career mode, and very nice drive. So I take the victory then of the Hungarian Grand Prix, 7-second gap in the end to Lewis Hamilton, with Carlos Sainz another very strong showing in 3rd place, Kimi Raikkonen 4th, with Ricciardo in 5th, limping home after those issues, with Fernando Alonso strong 6th, Hulkenberg 7th, Julian Palmer 8th, with Sebastian Vettel and Jenson Button running out the points, Valtteri Bottas just missing out along with his teammate in the end. But Alonso and Button both doing well for McLaren, so that'd be nice to see, with Magnussen, Grosjean, Ocon, Leclerc up down to 15th, Leclerc doing okay in his first race of Haas, with Max Verstappen 4 stopping his way to 16th, very disappointing for him. George Russell, Will Stevens, Giovinazzi and Perez round out the finishers, with Nico Carey and Pascal Wehrlein both retiring with those engine failures. But Championship now we have a 60-point lead over Verstappen as he failed to score, which is very nice to see. With Lewis Hamilton just a bit behind Verstappen, Kimi Raikkonen in 4th, with Ricciardo and Sainz not too far behind, with a bit of a gap to Vettel now. And the Constructors, Red Bull have a massive lead, 140 points, so it's looking pretty nailed on that we're going to win the Constructors, and hopefully I can take home the driver's title as well. But onto resource points, quite a lot now. But I'm choosing not to do upgrades because there's really no point as we have a big lead at the minute. But hopefully I can continue this march to the title. It seems we're only halfway through the season, there could be a lot of twists and turns towards the end, but who knows. So thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like on it, subscribe if you want to see more. This has been JM183 and I will see you next time.